Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, when it comes to this spiritual practice, from the history, there are mainly two parts, Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy. So, when it comes to Western philosophy, it start from the Greek, and they start to observe the universe and thought how this happened, what is the beginning of this. There should be a one thing this all is begin. They start to look deeply into this nature. So they start with the outside, observing the outside. And then one philosopher came to understanding the water is the most important fundamental element need for us to this entire universe to exist like this. And then he come to the conclusion this is the water. And then another philosopher observe and end up with the fire because of the sun and all this heat and everything. When it come to the nature, this everything exists with the kind of like there should be a fire, there should be a heat. And then another philosopher end up with the wind, and another philosopher end up with the earth. So, and then they start to observe this earth, fire, air, water, these four elements has a connection. It cannot separate each other. So it is a kind of like a unique combination carried within these four elements. And also it has its own method and pattern to go in a certain way. So now they come to understand there is a kind of like a pattern in these four elements. That pattern they start to introduce as a universal awareness or the consciousness. That is where this universal consciousness comes. It is not come out of someone else's mind or the brain. It comes out of the behavior of the nature. And this unique combination create the universe. This all united, and that is where the universe arises. And when it comes to the universe, it has a kind of like a pattern and the method, and that pattern and the method called the principles. So when we become part of that universe, that is where the human beings start to follow the principles, precepts. And it's mostly with the outside world. When you go to any place that you say, don't do this, don't do that, people follow that. And all the law and order all over the world to govern this outside world. That it is a part of this universal principles. Because the human being thought that becoming kind of like a discipline help you to go with the universe. So once you bound to this law and order, or once you bound to the principles, once you get used to principles, once you come to habit, or when you become more comfortable with the patterns, your life become like that. So then it's go. Maybe you feel comfortable. So their purpose in the beginning, they had the purpose to find the very comfort to be here like this. And then there is a pattern, and then the like as example Pythagoras, they come and they start to understood there is a pattern, and they give a kind of like a numerical meanings to this all the behavior, all the patterns. And that is where the astrology came, because according to the universal patterns, and they have the numbers and they can calculate, and according to the calculation they come to the conclusion or the idea, or this is going to happen this way because of this is the pattern. So, and other thing is, now another way, it's kind of like when it come to the patterns, they start to look past and the future, count the time. So now what happened? through the through the outside nature or the patterns, you bound to that, and even yourself with the the habitual pattern, you bound to your inner, and also you bound to the time. So then, when you come to this all, you can have a very comfortable journey. Nothing wrong with this anything. And later, and they start to come to a idea. This all the universal consciousness is as God also, and even before the Bible. If you know the history of that religion, and they had the idea not about the the person or the church, the entire universal planetary system they took as the God, based with the sun. So it all came through the Greek, this philosophical reading. But when it go to the Eastern, they mostly observe the outside world, but at the same time, they had a struggle to find out something with this body, not the universe. That, as example, in this winter time, if you are having a group of people, around the fireplace, so now you see the fire, and then one person observe how this fire happening and what is the reason for this, how the heat come, so like that way. And while you having the heat, you get mesmerized, and then you more into the heat, you become more respectful, and you try to maintain the heat. Why? Because you get mesmerized by the heat. And another person, and observe not the fire, and observe how this body and what is happening within this body because of the fire, and what the experience come out of. So like that, the the one school start to observe the outside, and one school start to observe the inside. And today, the danger is sometimes we mix with this all. And some people get out of this both observation, and some people mix up with this both observation. So our purpose should be to be very clear with our practice, and where we should go, and what the Buddha mentioned. Because once the Buddha came 2600 years ago, and what he found out and what he taught us, how to go into deeper inside, and why this life we experience like this way, and how you can get out of the birth. That is the main reason. How you can stop the birth. So mostly we try to stop the death, and having an idea to to be forever here, kind of like trying to become immortal, but it never going to happen. And it has a long history. And there were people, and they used to try to be immortal in many, many ways. But it didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. Even you reach to billion years, one day you're going to die. But what the Buddha said, and learn how to stop the birth. So when it comes to stopping the birth, then first you have to understand how you happening like this way. Not about the sun or the moon or this all other planets. How within this body, how you exist in this very moment. Because you cannot do anything regarding the sun or the moon or anything. So what the Buddha mentioned as the world is head to toes this body. And once you understand how the birth can stop, and then when if you don't born here, you don't have any pain, you don't have any struggle, no old age, no any sickness, no any death. So then try to find out how you can stop this. And when it comes to death, that before you go beyond your death, you have to understand how this moment happening, and this very moment also you have a birth. So you have to see that, and when you able to see that, then you can slowly understand on what will happen after the death. But mostly what we don't focus to this moment, and we focus to the future and try to do something beyond our death. And it mostly based with the fear, and maybe mostly based with unknown informations, just imagination, or sometimes the book we read about the death. The most of the books that came out of the living people, not dead people. No any dead person came and given us any information. So what the Buddha mentioned here, in this very moment, there is something happening within yourself, in this very moment. If you are able to understand that very moment, that understanding will give you the wisdom to see beyond this moment. So that is the power of the mind. So then rather than collecting information or go with the information, go with the ideas or venerating or the worshipping ideas, remember, get into the point to see your own real experience. So when it comes to life, it starts with your body. And even though we see this body as like this, how this body happened because of the consciousness or the awareness or the mind. So the mind depend on the names and forms. So the form is this body, and the names included all the thoughts, ideas, and everything. The mind, the heart, everything related to the thought, name. So if there is no name, no form, no consciousness. So once the names and the forms happen, what happening? So the awareness or the deeply to your mind has a deeper desire, hold it to these names and the forms. So in that desire, remember, in Buddhism, it is not talk about you have a desire to get something from outside. It look like that. When you see a beautiful flower, we see, oh, it is beautiful. When we see something nice, we say it is, oh, this is something nice. But mostly when it look from outside, it look like we attach to outside world. That's why we say, you know, let go things, let go things. The materially, physically, we try to let go things. But in Buddhism, in the Buddha's teaching, mainly talk about, there is a word called Chanda Raga. Chanda is the desire, the desire, and the raga, that the both, that the desire to hold it to your inner feelings. So remember, in the Greek philosophy, they observe the outside world and they start to go with the outside informations. But in the Buddha's teaching, it's not talk about outside details. You deeply attach to your inner feelings or the names and forms, not outside world. There is we cannot deny the outside, there is something outside world. But mainly you have to remember, you have to focus yourself. You should always remind yourself that attachment means, that desire means, that greediness means you have connection to deeper your own inner feelings related to the names and the forms that you carry in your head. So if you don't look that, if you don't see that, just imagine it is happening inside you, and maybe you give this everything to somebody, all these outside things, and but still you the same, you're not going to change. You can give up all the material things, but still you're going to be same. But how about the world going to be the same? And once you give up all your desire, that the whatever you like within your own inner mind, and you give up that, what will happen? Even the world going to become same, even your physical structure going to be the same, but deeply inside you going to different person. That is what the Buddha tried to taught, not about the outside world. But look, is still in the conventional life. Even when we like something, we try to bring it to us without knowingly it deeply happening inside. That struggle itself is the path of suffering. Take us to suffering. Why? Because you didn't see the real nature. You're struggling with something outside. So if you able to see this everything happening and arising inside you, and when something come to your mind, you don't look for outside world, because you know it is inside you. And that understanding itself take you out of the most of the struggle, most of the suffering, most of the unnecessary behavior. So then you have to be matured little bit mentally. You have to be matured a little bit to see this. Why? Because from childhood, from culture, tradition, that through the schooling, through everything, through our parents, everybody taught us get something from outside to fulfill our life. But no one taught us look inside you. Don't jump into outside. Why? Because this outside, anything, any single atom in this outside world not going to behave according to us. Just imagine, you have a desire inside you regarding something. To fulfill that desire, you take something from outside which you have no authority. What will happen? Itself, from that very moment that you you jump into this outside something, from that very moment your life going to have the fear, unsatisfaction, always shaking and moving, always shaking. Why? Uncertainty. Always like this shaking. Like the rattlesnake, you know, tail with the sound, zzz, always moving. That is what our mind. Why? Because you always hold it to outside which not related to you. And then this struggle keep going, keep going, keep going. Another thing is, in day-to-day life, when it happen, sometimes we addict, we have no choice. We sometimes addict or hold it to that struggle, that pain, and thinking or believing that is the life. But the real life is not live with the pain, not live with the fear, not live with the unsatisfaction, not live with the hopes, but still, and with the names and forms that we carry, that image within ourselves, this is me, this is my life, I can do this. So with like that ideas, still what will happen? You try to develop your future also. How it come? As example like this. So your husband or wife, now you think, this is my husband, this is my wife. And sometimes you don't like that person to become your next life husband or wife. Or maybe you have an imagination, oh, this kind of person I want in my next life. And sometimes always you have a idea regarding that person. I don't like this person. And sometimes, see, now you have somebody, but still you have another person in your mind. In the future, you're going to have. That how you bound to the your own feelings or the names and the forms. And maybe you have a very good husband or good wife, and you have a very good relationship, and you have very good chemistry, and then you come to a point to understand, I need this person. So I need this person for tomorrow, for next year, for my next life. And even I attain to Nibbana, I going to be with this person. See, when you come to that idea, uncertainty and the fear. Why? Because in case if this person not going to come, what will happen? See, the both way, that what you have in this moment, once you hold it as yours, it start to create, good or bad, it start to create a future. Jump ahead. Why? Because you hold this as yours. Even your body is not yours, but still we start to claim someone else's body. Even the children's, my children, even the, the other relationships. Somebody else, completely somebody else. But in surface level, we don't want to accept it. We think it's ours. That believing, that understanding, one day going to give you a lesson. What is that lesson? You will understand it is not yours. Somehow we all going to get that lesson. Forget about other person, another person. Even our own body, this hair, this skin, this teeth, even this body, these legs, hands, one day there is a moment come. And sometimes suddenly I cannot move my hand. Or maybe I think this is my base, and sometimes suddenly my this all the pace start to go to another direction. This eye is going to become something else. You know, when sometimes people get paralyzed suddenly when they wake up early in the morning and they cannot move their hand or the legs. They cannot move their body. And then what happened? When they stuck there, they suffer themselves. Why? Because they used to claim this body as them. That's why. It happened to all over the world. It keep happening, but still we don't see it. This is not ours. Why? Because we hold it to these names and forms, and whatever the ideas you carrying regarding what you like, that everything is not belong to you. So in the beginning, you cannot come to, oh, this anything is not belong to you like that. You cannot come to a method like that way. So then the Buddha mentioned a method. What you have to do. When something come to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, so whatever the desire arises in you, and it called aswada, the desire, nothing wrong with that. All the human beings going to have that. When you see something, the desire arises. So then you start to watch that desire. So what is happening? See it. And then you see the like, dislike going to come. Or maybe neutral. Observe that, see it. Before you react, even what you see, even what you're going to eat, or what you hearing, what you claim that you want to get it, when there is a desire arise in you, and we always see the good side of that. We never want to see the wrong side of it, negative side part of that. We always try to remind other people, say, oh, do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, like that. So because of that, we cannot see the true nature. Why? Because we hold only to the positive side of that, but we don't see the negative side. But if you come to a point without jumping only to the positive side, you see the positive side and negative side both before you do anything. To do that, you have to have a kind of well disciplined, strong, clear mind. Why? Because you have past experience, past habitual patterns, which we call the sanskara or the mental formations. You already done it. And because of that, what happening when something come to your mind, because of your past experience, you again jump to do it. That is what happening. If it is like, if you became successful yesterday and today also, without thinking, you jump into it to do it. If you don't like something, if it is happened yesterday, when it come today also, without a moment, you reject it. That is what happening. But have you ever seen kind of like a well-trained, drivers, even formula, the race they used to drive, but sometimes they get into accidents. They have all the well, you know, tools, machines, informations, techniques, training, everything. But still they get accident. Still they get stuck. Still they come to, situations they have to get out of the game. How that happen? Because when you become so confident regarding your past experience, you lose the moment of awareness. That's why. So that is what happened to us also. When something come to us, we have no moment of awareness because of our past experience. We just keep repeating. That is the nature of samsara. But the vipassana or the satipatthana brings you a method, new tool to your life. When something happen, in this very moment, whatever your past experience, you drop that all the past experience without having any influence from your past. In this very moment, you take the moment of experience separately, and it is new moment. It doesn't matter good or bad. So when it comes to inner feelings, you start to see, it doesn't matter good or bad, you start to see it. And when you see that, and you're going to recognize not only the result, you're going to see how the count action comes. The action, reaction, result you can see through the moment of experience. That is what you need. Not just seeing only the positive side of the life, not just escaping from the negative side of the life. No, when it come to a moment of experience and come to a point to see and observe deeply to see what will happen if you keep doing this. So when you observe that, you cannot have the past experience. Why? Because the past experience you became successful. And because of that success, that's why you keep doing it. So then you're not going to see beyond the whatever the moment. Then you keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. But what you need to do, just observe without the past experience, and then you will see the whatever, good or bad, anything, after the moment is change. That's what you have to see. Within your own inner feelings. Once you see the change, naturally, you no need to do anything because we cannot let go. No, any person can let go anything. We have no power to let go. Who we are to let go things? How you can let go? Then if you let go something, then where are you going to hold it to something? Because if you have power to to push something away, then where are you going to hold? And how you come to a point, I let go this and now I hold this. And if you reverse, whatever you try to let go today, maybe few years back you thought it is good. So then that means, then whatever you hold today, thinking this is good, and you let go something, and how about this? And how you know this going to be good, better than what you let go? Why? Because you had the same mind few years ago thinking this is good. And that's why you hold it to that. Now you today try to let go and hold it to something. We cannot let go. But the thing, this is what happening. As example, it like this. Any tree, when there is fruits or coconut, mango, apple, any tree doesn't have a power. When that fruit is young, strong and bound to the tree, any tree doesn't have power to drop that fruit out of the tree. So what will happen? It should have necessary conditions within the fruits and the tree branch. So that connection, that the both that should have the interconnection, and when that interconnections little by little loose, naturally what will happen? That the fruit cannot be with the tree. It has to go down. It has to separate. So if the truth say, no, I used to be with you for a while, you are the one who gave me the birth, I'm going to be with you. There's no way. When necessary conditions there, the fruits need to go. Same like when you come to a point to observe the experience without any past influence, not about outside. Remember, I think within your own. So while you enjoying or while you having your life thinking this is good, if you observe it little bit, you will see the change. And when you see change, there is no way you're going to have a strong desire to hold it. Naturally, it's going to let go. That is the method what the Buddha mentioned. Through this meditation, you come to a point to see your inner experience. And once you see that inner experience, you will see that all the experience, moment by moment, change. That five aggregates: form, feeling, sensation, formation, recognition. It moment by moment change. One moment, if you experience that change anymore, you don't carry the desire to hold it to something, claim something as your, or clinging to something, harboring to something. Why? Because you know that everything change moment by moment. But that doesn't mean your life going to change. This outside, this outside, not anything not going to change. You're going to be the same person physically, materially, but at the same time your behavior going to change deeply inside you. So that is what you need. But mostly what we try, we going to be the same inside, but we try to change the outside world. That way we never going to end this struggle, end this fight. So but what the Buddha mentioned, remember yourself. The main purpose is deeply observe yourself knowingly. This everything is your mind. So the very nature of the mind always changing. So through the vipassana, we see not the outside object, but the inside subject. We are the subject. We are the observer. So we see how the observer change. Once you see how the observer change, all your desires, all your craving, all your struggle going to release from you. That is where your liberation, your transformation, that is where your nibbana going to come to you. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha ammi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.